of the places where logic no longer makes sense, because the blocks that we have here are unique on this entire planet.
High on Bolivia's wind cut, Altiplano, a broken complex of stone, sits where it seems it shouldn't. Its blocks look less like ancient masonry and more like precision machined parts.
These are the mysterious ruins of Puma Punku, nearly 13,000 feet in the Altiplano of Bolivia.
For years, experts argued over tools, timelines, and what the ruins were even meant to be. Then researchers fed the entire site into artificial intelligence, and the reconstruction revealed a darker possibility: the impossible ruins. Puma Punku stands more than 12,000 feet above sea level, in the Bolivian Andes, a cold plateau, where the air is thin and the questions are heavy. This isn't a typical ruin with rough walls and uneven blocks. The stones here suggest planning, standardization, and an engineering mindset that feels out of place for a site. Often dated to over 1,500 years ago, the complex is built mainly from two stones, a softer reddish sandstone and a much tougher volcanic rock called andesite. Andesite ranks around 6, on the Mohs hardness scale, just below quartz. And according to the traditional historical picture, the Tiwanaku culture associated with the site had stone hammers and basic bronze tools at best. That's where the mystery begins: carving andesite. Cleanly with that toolkit is difficult under ideal conditions, yet Puma Punku's blocks aren't just carved, they appear engineered. Tools that don't fit. Start with the weight. Some of the largest stones are estimated at around 131 metric tons, like stacking nearly 70. Family sedans into a single block. Many theories say workers hauled these megaliths on wooden rollers, but Puma Punku sits above the tree line, where timber is scarce. If rollers were used, huge amounts of wood would have needed to be cut far below in greener valleys, then dragged uphill across harsh terrain, again and again for dozens or hundreds of moves. Then comes the precision. Many blocks are cut to crisp 90-degree angles. Some surfaces are so smooth they catch and reflect light. The famous H-shaped blocks are the most striking. Repeated forms with complex internal right angles, recessed steps, T-shaped slots, and grooves that look more like factory-made joints than hand-chiseled stone. Put these stones side by side, and the intent becomes clearer. They were designed to interlock, like a giant construction kit. Some blocks even show channels, where molten, L-shaped bronze clamps appear to have been poured to lock stones together, suggesting metallurgical casting methods not typically expected in this place and time. It's true that many stones have shifted, cracked, and weathered over centuries of earthquakes and exposure. The site is damaged, but even now, enough remains to show astonishing fit and repeatable geometry. The questions pile up. How was this level of precision achieved? How were these weights moved? And how did a standardized design appear on a high plateau where the logistics alone seem punishing? For a long time, the mainstream answer was endurance. Slow carving with stone hammers and bronze chisels, then polishing with sand and water. In small-scale experiments, shaping a single block. This way is possible. But Puma Punku isn't one block. It's a system of heavy, repeating parts uniform, consistent, and apparently modular, built at a scale that strains the primitive method explanation. That gap opened the door to alternative ideas. One of the more popular was the liquid stone, or geopolymer theory, the claim that builders dissolved andesite into a slurry and poured it into molds like ancient concrete. It could explain sharp angles, and repeated shapes if it were true. But most geologists reject it, pointing to mineral signatures that look like natural quarried stone, not reformed material. So the debate stayed stuck. Traditional explanations felt too weak, and the wilder ones felt too unsupported. That's when researchers tried something new. AI rebuilds the past. A global group launched what they called the Altiplano Project, an attempt to let the evidence speak without forcing it into a pre-selected story. Teams from universities in Bolivia, Germany, Japan, and the United States spent 5 years gathering measurable data. They used high-resolution laser scanning to map more than 150 individual stones down to tiny tolerances. They ran ground-penetrating radar to search for buried structures. They studied chemical traces at clamp points. They used satellite imagery to hunt for possible quarry routes. Astronomers even checked whether the site aligned with solar events, stars, and longer celestial cycles. In total, they assembled over 12 terabytes of scans, photos, measurements, tool-marked detail, compositions, and coordinates, then fed it all into a cutting-edge AI. The instruction wasn't prove a theory. It was reverse engineer the site, rebuild Puma Punku in the most logical way possible from the data alone. The AI didn't care about academic reputations or long-held assumptions. It treated the ruins as a giant dataset: angles, ratios, break patterns, material traces, alignments. And from that digital chaos, something startling emerged. For the first time, Puma Punku assembled itself digitally. By matching fragments and comparing tool mark patterns like a massive jigsaw puzzle, the model snapped broken forms back into place. What it produced wasn't a simple courtyard of scattered stones. The reconstruction suggested a large multi-level architectural complex: a raised platform mound, internal chambers, gateways linked by corridors, and a network of channels carved with such precision that water would have flowed at controlled rates. Some of those channels, the AI indicated, fed shallow pools positioned in a way that could reflect the night sky, turning water into a mirror for the heavens, possibly for ceremony, observation, or both. But the biggest revelation wasn't the layout. It was the method. According to the eye, Puma Punku wasn't assembled as irregular, one-off masonry. It was built from interchangeable modules, parts designed to repeat. The system identified that dozens of andesite H-blocks were carved from a single master template, with groove spacing, angles, and recesses matching to extremely tight tolerances, down to tiny fractions. The model also found a core set of roughly 19 repeating block types used across walls, terraces, gateways, and water features, combined in different configurations, like standardized components. In other words, the site behaved less like handmade construction and more like prefabrication, centuries before prefabrication was supposed to exist. Then, the AI ran deeper mathematical analysis and found another layer: geometry. Certain proportions, repeated across doorway heights, slab widths, and gateway spacing ratios, resembling 1.618, the golden ratio, often linked to harmony and design. The pattern suggested the builders weren't only trying to make something sturdy, they were encoding a rule set, sacred geometry expressed in stone. Next came the sky. Earlier scholars had argued for solstice and equinox alignments, and the AI confirmed major solar links. But it also detected subtler ones: orientations that tracked constellations, polar star paths, lunar standstill positions, and most intriguingly, the way the sky would have appeared around the 6th century AD. That led to a haunting proposal. Puma Punku may have been more than a ceremonial center. The AI treated it like an astronomical machine, a large-scale instrument, even a clock not for hours or days, but for long cycles stretching across generations. And then, the model's conclusions turned darker. It detected a repeating cycle in the alignments, suggesting the site could have been designed not only to observe the heavens, but to predict patterns. Rare disruptions, such as meteor showers, debris streams, or comet returns that could threaten Earth. In that reading, Puma Punku becomes something like a warning system, a monument built to record cosmic danger and alert future generations to recurring events. The AI then looked at the destruction itself. Traditionally, the scattered stones are blamed on earthquakes, centuries of weathering, and looting. But the debris field didn't behave like typical earthquake collapse. The direction and spread suggested something faster, more violent, and more sudden. The model estimated the force required to move multi-ton blocks, the distances observed and found it, consistent with catastrophic flooding or an explosive airburst. Exactly the kind of disaster the site may have been tracking. That realization shook researchers because it didn't need aliens or fantasy. It implied something more unsettling. A lost human intelligence, possibly 1,500 years ago, or older, capable of modular construction, precision stone engineering, and advanced sky knowledge. And then that knowledge ends. No clear manuals, no workshops, no obvious successors reproducing the same methods. Just silence and scattered stone. A global stone pattern. Puma Punku feels even stranger when you zoom out. Around the world, history holds other sites that raise the same impossible questions. Massive stones that shouldn't have been movable. Precision cuts that shouldn't have been achievable. And alignments that suggest builders were encoding astronomical knowledge into architecture. Consider Machu Picchu in Peru. It's famous as an Inca city, high in the Andes, but beyond the terraces, the stonework tells a deeper story. Granite blocks fitted so tightly, you can't slip paper between them. No mortar, no cement, just uncanny precision. Machu Picchu is usually dated to the 15th century. Long after Puma Punku, yet its stone-fitting style echoes techniques seen in older megalithic traditions. Did the Inca reinvent these methods, or inherit fragments of something earlier? Then there's Baalbek in Lebanon, in the Bekaa Valley. The Roman temple complex of Heliopolis is impressive on its own, but its foundations are what stop people cold. The Trilithon stones, 3 massive limestone blocks, are each said to weigh over 800 tons, heavier than a fully loaded Boeing 747. Nearby lies the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, estimated at over 1,000 tons. Even modern cranes would struggle with such weights. Who cut them, moved them, and set them? Some argue clever Roman engineering. Others suspect the platform predates Rome. Either way, it doesn't fit neatly. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey pushes the timeline back even further. Discovered in the 1990s and dated to around 11,000 years ago, it predates writing, agriculture, and the wheel. Yet it features carefully carved T-shaped limestone pillars, some up to 20 tons, arranged in circular enclosures with detailed animal carvings. Textbook, simple hunter-gatherers weren't supposed to build monumental architecture, yet the site suggests organization, planning, and possibly celestial alignment awareness far earlier than expected. And of course, Egypt's pyramids, especially the Great Pyramid of Giza. Built more than 4,000 years ago, it's aligned extremely close to true north, made from over 2 million blocks, some weighing up to 15 tons. Its proportions are often said to echo constants like pi and the golden ratio, and its layout is linked by many to sky patterns such as Orion's belt. Like Puma Punku, it feels deliberate architecture built around mathematics and the cosmos. Different continents, different cultures, different centuries, yet the same themes. Extreme stonework, precision geometry, and a fixation on the heavens. Did these societies arrive at the same knowledge independently? Or are these scattered fragments of a larger lost legacy? Puma Punku becomes especially chilling. Here, because the AI reconstruction suggests it wasn't random rubble at all. It was a planned, modular, mathematical system like the other world wonders, but with an added layer of interchangeability that feels strikingly modern. And unlike Egypt, Rome, or the Inca cultures with clearer historical continuity, Puma Punku doesn't sit comfortably in the timeline. The Tiwanaku may have used it, but many clues suggest they didn't originate its deepest megalithic core. Which raises the question, the eye effectively forced back onto the table. If they weren't the architects, who was? A warning in stone. If Puma Punku was inherited, the layering at the site matters. Archaeologists have noted that Tiwanaku pottery and ritual traces often appear on top of the megalithic foundations, not within them, suggesting later use of an older structure. So if Tiwanaku weren't the original builders, what happened to the people who were? The simplest answer may be the harshest: nature. The Altiplano has seen repeated earthquakes, floods, and violent climate shifts. Geological evidence indicates major seismic activity has struck the region multiple times in the past 2,000 years. The way the stones are scattered doesn't look like slow decay. It looks sudden, forceful, almost explosive. Some point to signs of massive flooding. Ancient shorelines around nearby lake Titicaca suggest water levels once rose far higher than today, possibly from catastrophic meltwater floods as glaciers receded. Imagine a sudden surge sweeping across the plateau, tearing through walls, flipping 100-ton stones, and devastating the people living there. Others point toward an even wider catastrophe. Around the year 536 AD, historical records across the world describe a strange dark period linked to a global dust cloud. The Byzantine historian Procopius wrote that the sun gave off its light, without brightness. Tree ring data shows sudden cooling consistent with a major volcanic eruption or an airburst event in the atmosphere. Could Puma Punku's destruction fall into the same window? The AI analysis noted that the debris pattern resembled the kind of blast wave seen in an airburst like the Tunguska event of 1908 in Siberia, when a space rock exploded in the atmosphere and flattened vast forest. If Puma Punku truly encoded long celestial cycles, the unsettling thought is this: maybe the disaster it tracked eventually arrived, and the warning was written in stone, because the builders feared it could happen again. But catastrophe alone may not explain the total silence. If this was an advanced knowledge culture, why did the methods vanish so completely? One possibility is that knowledge was concentrated in a small elite: priests, engineers, astronomers, keepers of secrets. That can preserve control, but it creates fragility. If the keeper class disappears through war, plague, or political collapse, the knowledge can vanish with them. History has painful parallels. The Library of Alexandria, where vast stores of learning were lost, and the collapse of Maya cities, after which much of their writing system and recorded knowledge disappeared. In this view, the Tiwanaku might have inherited the stones, but not the science, like finding a crashed machine without knowing how it works. Another possibility is migration. Maybe survivors scattered, carrying pieces of their knowledge into new regions. Over centuries, real techniques could dilute into legend. In the Andes, stories speak of Viracocha, a bearded, godlike figure who appeared after a great flood and taught survivors skills like farming and building. Myth or memory? It raises a provocative question. Could legends preserve echoes of the last engineers of Puma Punku? When you compare Puma Punku with sites in Peru, Lebanon, Turkey, and Egypt, the similarities feel eerie. Massive blocks, moved by unknown means, precision cuts, and sky alignments coded into architecture. It invites a bigger idea, one that is hard to prove but hard to ignore, that human history might not be a smooth climb upward, but a cycle with sharp rises and catastrophic falls. We tend to imagine a neat ladder, caves to villages, to cities, to spaceflight. But discoveries keep pushing back. The start of complex behavior. Göbekli Tepe showed monumental building and possible astronomy far earlier than expected. Other finds have pushed advanced metallurgy and chemical knowledge back thousands of years in places we didn't expect. Puma Punku may be another signal that brilliance can appear, peak, and then be erased. And that also explains the missing manuals and tools. Civilizations can collapse hard. If modern society fell tomorrow, no power, no internet, no industry. How long before skyscrapers crumbled, machines rusted, and the details of how we built our world became myth? 1,000 years from now, could survivors rebuild a jet engine? Or would they start again with wood and stone? That's the paradox the AI reconstruction leaves us with. It may clarify that Puma Punku was engineered, standardized, and astronomically aligned, but it makes the deeper mystery louder. How can that level of capability disappear so completely? And if the site truly encoded dangerous cosmic cycles, comet returns, meteor streams, solar events, climate shocks, then Puma Punku might be more than a ruin. It might be a message. Watch the sky, it will happen again. In the end, Puma Punku doesn't just reshape the past. It points toward the future. It reminds us that knowledge is fragile, that progress can vanish overnight, and that monuments may outlive civilizations as silent records of what was known and what was feared. So what do you think happened to the builders of Puma Punku? Was it a natural disaster, societal collapse, migration, or something else entirely? Share your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into one of history's greatest enigmas, please like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries that rewrite our past. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Epoch Dive for more amazing documentaries.